The reason we went from 6 figures a year, multiple 6 figures a year, to multiple 6 figures a month
is your wife.
Is my wife. And because
All right,
of outsourcing, creating systems so that we could focus on the activities that bring us joy, the activities that bring us profits, the things that require our talents.
Yeah.
How many of us can appreciate that conversation? How many of us find ourselves in the weeds, or we find ourselves doing things we don't enjoy, things that suck our energy, right? Spending time with people or on things that we would rather do something else, right? We would rather spend time with other people. We would rather spend our time and efforts and put our energy into things that fuel our flame, that give us passion and excitement and fuel our purpose. So let's get into it. We're going to help you maximize efficiency, unlock the secrets of successful outsourcing. And I just want to tell you all, Nadya is the brains behind our operation. You know, we met 21 years ago. We were broke, busted, and disgusted. No background in business, no business being in business, but we had a lot of hunger. We had a lot of determination, tenacity. And if it wasn't for Nadya, we would not have the business we have today on the back end. So I can do the things I love doing.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't for our virtual staff, our virtual team, and a lot of you know Ben, you know Desi, you know Kyle, maybe you've come across some of our posts, our videos, our content that's been repurposed by our video team. Like, all of that is intentional and all of that took time to build up, but it's given us freedom. It's given us the ability, freedom and flexibility to do what's most important in our life, whether it's spending time with each other, spending time with our kids, spending time doing the business activities that we actually love to do.
So I think we ought to start with this. You can have it all, but you can't do it all. And you can have it all, but just not all at once. My goal was to build a life that we didn't want a vacation from. And I'm happy to report, finally, reluctantly, because of the secrets and the strategies and the SOPs that we put into place, we have done that. And let's help you do the same things. You know, today, when you take a look at the life and the business that we've created, the truth is, without our amazing virtual staff, we'd still be stuck working 80 plus hours a week each and never having time for our kids. And thank goodness for outsourcing, because it's allowed us to scale our business much faster than we could ever have done on our own.
Amen.
And so today, when we take a look at, you know, the numbers, it's really impressive. And my goal here is not to impress you, but to impress upon you how much you can do and the needle that you can move in your business if you get out of the weeds and you start to work on strategic initiatives and work on your business, right? Versus being like in the weeds.
Amen.
So let's kick it off and let's talk a little bit about your vision.
What does your perfect day look like? What are you going to spend time doing? And I'm not talking about like sipping on pina coladas, laying on the beach, right? We're talking about like your perfect work day. Because I would assume most of you are like us and you have a passion for what you do. Like, it's funny because people are like, man, you guys still work hard. And I mean, I guess I don't really feel like it's hard work at this point because we know exactly what to do every day and how we want to show up. And we say no to a lot of things if we don't want to do them. We're not willing to sacrifice our health, our well-being, our peace of mind. But the truth is, what else are we going to do all day? Right? This is the stuff we love doing. This is what gives us a passion for showing up. In fact, I love using the example of like a Tom Brady. How many of us realize that Tom Brady wasn't continuing to play football because he just needed the money? It was because it was what he loved to do. And it was something that he wanted to continue doing even past his prime. Now, the good news is building an online business, we have years and years and years of time and effort that we can put into a business like this, where we don't have to worry about retiring. In fact, retirement isn't really a thing that excites me. My excitement, take my annual income and turn it into a monthly income. Even still today, we make millions a year. We're like, let's make millions a month one day. Why not? Why not strive for greatness and go out there and make a big splash? You only get to do this once. You know what I'm saying? And I want you to start thinking differently about your time, about your energy. Because if you have the CEO mentality, your time is worth at least $1,000 an hour. the highest paid CEOs in the world, how much they make per hour, it's literally thousands of dollars an hour when you think about it. So how many of us want to start painting that picture? We want to start speaking that into existence, dreaming bigger. And when you start to build this team, and we're not just really talking about our virtual team. In fact, just downstairs right now, we got our cleaning crew here cleaning the house, right? We don't want to spend time on things that don't bring us joy, that again, suck our energy, that, maybe aren't income producing needle movers. Because I want to tell you, there is nothing more impactful. There's nothing that you can do that's going to help you more than outsourcing these tedious tasks and learning how to delegate. And let's really talk about outsourcing, Nadya, because I know for us, it was probably the first book was probably the 4-Hour Work Week that really made an impact on us. And we realized we're doing a lot
and it started with the vision, right? He planted a seed that, look, what if you could build a lifestyle around working just 4 hours a week? And it was so dramatic, and it really triggered us to think outside the box. And we started to daydream almost, right? About, wow, what if we wrapped a very beautiful lifestyle and we put front and center our family, our all the things that we wanted to do, because we only get to do this once. And then what if we could wrap a business around that lifestyle? And for you, I want to challenge you to think about that. You are the visionary of your business. You're also the bottleneck to your business. And for the first half of our career, John and I were so in the weeds with the activities that we didn't even have time to catch the bird's eye view to understand, hey, what kind of sucks about, us? Yes, we're making a 6-figure income, but we never see the kids. And you guys, I'm talking about for 5 years at the time in that business, we were out every single night. We did it during our second pregnancy. We had Christina on a Tuesday. She was 10 pounds, 2 ounces. And then that very Saturday, we were back to doing Saturday trainings, PBRs, all the things. We squeezed 40 years of work into 5 years. And I feel like because we worked so hard and we sacrificed so much, that we finally drew that line in the sand to say, hey, we got to look at this differently. And in order for you to reach the level of success that is reserved for the elite in your field, you do have to retrain your brain and you have to elevate your energy. Like John, what you said, it's so true. If you are consistently bombarded by things like laundry, by admin tasks, by repetitive tasks, maybe you're doing your own bookkeeping and all those things that zapping at your energy, they're stealing your energy, then think about how much time you have to take to recalibrate, to get into your highest self, to be able to do those activities that move the needle in your business. The power question is, what activities are you doing right now that do not require your talent?
When you start to become a leader, because I know some of us aren't even leaders of teams yet, but you almost start to become like a high paid salesperson where it's like, if you stop working, your business collapses, right? Like that's not exciting. That's not what any of us are doing this for. So you want to think about like what drives you, what drains you, what zaps your energy, what fuels your fire. What are you avoiding?
Good question.
It
because
could
you're
be
in the weeds.
Yeah, it could.
Right?
But for some of us, it's like we don't like prospecting. Maybe we don't like creating content. Maybe there's some things that we just don't enjoy doing. Now, I will say this. We have to also be very careful because sometimes there's this conversation around like you should love what you do. And I don't know if I totally agree with that. Like there are things that you may not love doing, but you love the results. You love the lifestyle. You love the freedom it can create. Like there were things in those early years in our business I did not enjoy doing, but I had to do it. I had to grow through it, not just go through it, but grow through it so I could develop into the leader I am today. So don't think that bad things happen to you. Think like they happen for you. They help you get better. So be okay with that. Be okay with maybe sometimes doing things you don't love doing, because you can't outsource someone else to do your push-ups. Does that make sense? Like you can't hire someone else to work out for you. There are some things you have to do, but we want to help you get out of the weeds. so you can work on the business instead of in the business, and start saying no to things. Like Nadya is really good at this.
That's it.
Nadya says no to things all the time. Like I'm like, babe, I have to almost like convince her to do a speaking engagement. I have to almost convince her. And it could be like just someone wants to interview her and she's like, no, that is not the part of my initiative this year. She understands
Clarity equals power.
what she needs. Yes.
My main initiative. Thank you.
She understands what she's focused on, and she understands what things are not at the top of the priority list right now. And that's a clarity thing for a lot of you. Like some of you, you're in a different season in your life than the next person, right? Some people have young children. Some people are empty nesters, right? Everybody's in a different situation. So you have to figure out for you, what is the thing? What is that thing you need to focus on? And keep in mind, you don't own your social media. Now, I don't want to freak you out. I don't want to scare you, but I know a lot of people that lost their Facebook, they lost their Instagram, and they had no way to communicate with their team, with their network. So please, at some point, make the decision to build a text message list or an email list, or both, like we do. An email list, like a way to communicate with your customers, your leads. Maybe you create freemiums, right? Where people have to opt in to access a recipe. They have to opt in to access a Facebook community. They have to opt in to be a part of your online community. And I think it's really important for all of us when we're ready for that next level to consider that as a great way to start building your own business, your own brand, your own list. So let's get into how to gain some clarity, because I think sometimes this stuff is very broad. We want to make it more niche for you, so you can specifically understand what to do to start creating those SOPs, which you're about to learn about.
So when it comes to your day-to-day, what's really powerful is to make a list of everything that you do. So I heard this exercise from 2 different people, and I'm like, you know what? I already know. So I want to challenge you to resist that. Oh, I already know what I got going on. I want to challenge you to write it down, because what happened for me was, once I jotted it all down and I started to analyze and highlight, what are those top income producing activities that only I could do? And then what are those things? Maybe start to think about repetitive tasks. Again, things that are snagging your energy. And then you can even put them into different categories. So you can even get like organized, admin type stuff, virtual stuff. Don't worry, we're going to give you lots of different examples to think through this. But once I got it done, it was almost like somebody set my feet on fire. And I became inspired, even though my motto was, if I want it done right, I better do it myself. And that motto had me burned out so many times in my entrepreneur journey. Let me give you an idea of what we're looking at. This graph is so beautiful, so many colors, so many different ideas. But I want you to think about this. What is your number one stressor right now? That's how, matter of fact, I run my life, is I think to myself, what is my number one initiative? What is my number one stressor? And then I align my daily activity to move those initiatives in forward. In forward.
But I also love the idea, like it says right here, make a list of everything you do from Monday morning till Sunday night, basically throughout your entire day. And I think you'll be shocked by how much time you're wasting. How much time you're wasting on things that, like, listen, some of it isn't even about hiring people. Like, some of you have kids, right? Getting your kids involved. I like when we did the team retreat with Amanda Forbes, and she said her and Brandon sat down for about 4 hours, did a brain dump on everything they do every single day. And I think she said she was wasting like 5 hours a day, like meal prepping, laundry, dishes, like, and even things like taking the dog out. And then how many of us, we get frustrated with our kids or our spouse because they're not helping out? Well, how about you start assigning tasks? Like on Monday, it's Kyle's turn. Kyle takes out the trash. Kyle takes care of the dog. Tuesday, it's Susie. Susie takes care of the dishes, whatever. So you can delegate to your children. You can delegate to your spouse, right? So you have to ask yourself this. Is your business you dependent or system dependent? So we start to think about the McDonald's analogy, because, and we've been using this for like 20 years, because when you go to McDonald's, whether you go to the one in Canada, China, Japan, they're all the same. They got the golden arches, the dollar menu, the nasty nuggets.
And
the point
a
is,
teenager can run it.
Yes.
So they created their SOPs in such a simple, dummy-proof way
Yes.
that anybody can do it. This kind of stuff, it's almost like when you think about, creating SOPs, you like want to take a nap. Like it's so discouraging and now we're going to talk about things that are not all that sexy, but can I just get you excited about this concept on getting return on time invested?
yes.
And I love this quote by Rory Vaden. He says, spend time on things today that is going to create more time for you tomorrow. And at the heart of our business success, for John and I, if I were to really dial it all back, it's our commitment to streamlining processes and optimizing our SOPs to create that consistency. And then if you hire a VA and it doesn't work out, but you have all of the SOPs in place, it becomes like that very smooth operating thing. It's beautiful. Okay, so systems, workflows, SOPs. SOP stands for Standard Operating Protocol, one of our favorite things to talk about. It's a written set of instructions that detail the steps to be taken to complete a task consistently and effectively. And I want to challenge you here, for those of us that maybe still hold on to that motto that used to be my motto of, if I want it to be done right, I better do it myself. I then subscribe to this idea. If it's done at 80% quality, like if I were to do it at 100%, but if somebody else does it at 80% quality, that's better than me doing it at 100%. But how do we ensure that consistent outcome? Is we create these SOPs. It improves efficiency, consistency. It helps you also become so much more optimized once you see it. So here's a really good example of an SOP. Like right now, you're tuning into our live Money Monday with the Meltons show. It's something that we've been doing for many, many years. And we've created this protocol.
How we take the show and repurpose it and where we share it and all the different moving parts. But this is an SOP so that if we needed to hire someone new to take on that responsibility, everything is broken down step by step. And by the way, this is what we've created in our network marketing, inside of our network marketing team, inside of our community, right? Inside of the guides in our Facebook group, for those of you that are, using Facebook groups to train your teams, right? Having this exact same system in place for your teams, for onboarding, for duplication, for launching, what to do every day, PDFs, and just having everything in place so that people can step into your system, join your team, get into the guides, get into the training, and know exactly what to do. So this is the big picture of what we've created. And here's a breakdown of how to go through that process.
Okay, so this is so good and so visual. How do we delegate a task? Anytime you have a task, a really good screening clarity question: will I enjoy this? Yes or no? If you'll enjoy it, sure, do it. This is how I like to think through stuff, right? So I want to do things that either A, make me money, or B, bring me happiness. So will you enjoy this? If the answer is no, then we ask, is it income generating? If the answer is yes, or if the answer is no, let's look what happens next. Can it be outsourced? Yes, then we delegate. If it cannot be outsourced, we got to complete it because it's got to get done, right?
Some of this stuff is going to have to get done, but there are some things, a lot of things that you can outsource, that you can build a virtual team around. Community management, right? They can help with your team, with directing them to PDFs and trainings, tagging them in things, contest management, graphic creation, project broadcast management for those of you using Project Broadcast. They can help organize resources in your Facebook groups, your boards app, messenger support. How many of us, when we get inundated with lots of messages and group chats, again, this is more of a leadership conversation, but you get inundated and you miss messages. Well, you won't if you have someone that's helping you manage your inbox. Some of us, maybe we have little kids, like we know there's times where like we just can't be on our phones for hours at a time, but having someone that can just monitor the important messages that are time sensitive to help you. And think about this, if someone gets a response from your assistant, they're like, damn, Nadya, okay, big baller, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is one of those little things that can make a huge difference. How about recognition, leaderboards, right? Commenting on posts. I mean, just things that like sometimes
and
we
all
just
of these things,
Yeah.
and I take a side note, is that because you're right now, chances are doing it, or you should be doing it. And when you're doing it, I would then create an SOP and jot down every step that you do in the order that you do it in.
Right.
And then that SOP now can be something that your VA comes in and does.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So it's so cool once you really think through all of the things that you're doing right now, and how can we take the repetitive stuff? I feel like that's the easiest thing to attack first. I'm a fan of just go for the low-hanging fruit, because it's also going to give you like that enthusiasm, like, oh my gosh, it's kind of like when I hired Marie and I started to see little results of how she was taking things off my plate. It got me more and more excited. And it gave me, that confidence that we can outsource more and more and more, right? Okay, so this is just to help you think through that. 3 different types of outsourcers. You're going to have ongoing support. Example, virtual assistant, a bookkeeper. If you don't have a bookkeeper, I would put that on priority list for sure. Housekeeper, somebody that maybe comes once a week, couple of times a week, depending on what it is you need. Project-based. Example is a graphic designer, copywriter, web design. So it's based on a project, not somebody that you have to keep on retainer. Automated solutions, example would be something like email marketing, text message marketing, right? Think about lead generation, which is the lifeblood of your business, and how can we create some systems around you or some opportunities to grow your email list, your text messaging list. Like that right there, I want you to jot down in your notes. And if you're not ready for that, you want to create systems around you to free up your time so you can cycle back and create this sort of automation, because this is how you start to now create your own economy, right? Because we talked about social media, we don't own it. Social media automation. Okay, great. 2 types of jobs. There's offline and there's online. If you live in the United States of America, the cost of labor here is a lot more expensive. So I want to encourage you to think of first outsourcing online stuff, because we can now source labor internationally. Our favorite country to go to is Philippines. And we can hire incredible talent from Philippines, anywhere from $5, to $8, $9 an hour, which if you were to hire that personal assistant in the US, it's way, way more, right? Yeah. So it becomes very affordable for those of us that are in the process of scaling our business. Now, offline, let's touch on this, because it's also something that could have you in that mental stress and have you just hustling unnecessarily. The goal, let's reduce the mental stress, let's increase your productivity, things like housekeeping, laundry, house maintenance, landscaping, right? Again, if your time is $1,000 an hour, you start to think differently. If you hate to meal prep, if you don't love to cook, now for me, I told you my philosophy. I only do things that either make us money or make me happy. And one of the things that I love to do is I love to garden. I love to cook. I love to take care of my family. So I do those things, but I still have systems around me where for those days where I'm really, really busy on a project and I can't take 20, 30, 40 minutes to prep or think about it or cook anything, we have meal delivery service on the weekly basis. So the kids are not stressed because there's nothing in the fridge, or John is not stressed because, happy wife, happy life, but also miserable husband, drama on the side. Let us think through how do we eliminate that? Now, childcare in our business, we work with so many moms who have little babies. And it's such a beautiful stage. How many of us maybe lived through that? Like, I remember that stage, and it can get pretty stressful, especially if you have a lot of kids and you're the only one. Like John and I were spoiled. We have in-home babysitters. We've been pretty fortunate, right? Our business afforded us an opportunity to move my family here from Russia. So we've always had support inside the house. But if you don't have that and you're noticing, dude, my number one stressor is there's too much randomness in my schedule,
exactly.
You know, or you're trying to be in that concentrated state and prospect or do a video or do content creation, and you keep getting interrupted. That's so frustrating.
Right. It's like I said earlier, you get upset with your spouse,
it's
or
so
you get upset with your kids because things aren't getting done. Well, why not assign tasks, assign the things that they're responsible for?
So I want to challenge you to think in your house, is there something right now that's stressing you that we can think creatively, whether it's the way that John gave you an example and you have older kids and you can now create some kind of to-dos for them. So you're taking it off your list, create SOPs for them. Isn't that just beautiful?
That's right.
And you put it front and center and you let them do it, right? Or you bring in somebody. And there's, you guys, so many different websites. I put TaskRabbit, Thumbtack, Home Advisor, but read reviews. I'm a big fan of interview, 2 to 3 people for the job. You're looking for the personality match, right? And always negotiate their pricing for sure. Now, automated solutions. This is actually one of my favorite tools. Now, we don't have any kind of affiliate links. We just are really big fans of this protocol. But you can automate the process of posting content. And then also, this is my favorite part, I should have underlined it for dramatic effect, But also it's great for recycling your best previously posted content. You guys, think about that number one stressor. At one point, my number one stressor was I felt like I had to always be posting on social media. But we know the truth, right? Especially for those of us that are introverted. Like, I know it may be hard for you to appreciate this, but I'm an outgoing introvert. And sometimes there's days I don't want to talk for 2 to 3 days and nothing creative hits my brain at all. So knowing that that's going to happen, what if we could create a system to kind of puff those days when you don't feel creative? And the best way to do it is to create an SOP. And whether it's maybe you right now, or if you have a virtual assistant, but what if you could go back for the last year, 2, 3 years and grab your top performing posts, and now you're putting them into a library, right, of content, and then those buckets of content that you already know have performed well, you can now put them on a schedule to repost. And what I love is Meet Edgar is not going to post something until it goes through the rest of your bucket, and then it goes back. Does that make sense? It's so cool. One of my favorite tools. I love this automation. Next one, I'm just going to mention this for you. We have this resources page, right? Oh, I really love a resources page.
It's literally perfect.
It's so good. And I tortured my beautiful virtual team about, guys, let's come up with best tools recommendations. If somebody does want to start a text messaging list or an email list, or they want to put together a website, but something simple, we're going to assume you're not a web developer, you don't know how to do any of the stuff. And we created these awesome charts to help you bring clarity and help you decide. So if you're ready for that sort of thing, check out the website after the training is done. It's awesome. Great. Now, before you start hiring, this is so very key. Remember, we talked a little bit about investing time and energy today into something that's going to save you so much time and frustration and energy down the road. And this is what it is. Number one, centralize and organize your content. And this is something you should do before you start to bring on virtual team, because trust me when I tell you, it's kind of like if you bring a chef into your kitchen and you want them to be effective, efficient to cook a meal, but imagine if your kitchen is not organized at all, like how much time they can waste looking for the basic stuff.
Right.
So that's your content, right? And your content nowadays, it should be centralized and also backed up. So gone are the days when everything was on one computer, and if that one computer dies, you lose your digital gold mine. You know what I mean?
Right.
So centralized, organized. Dropbox is our tool of choice. Step 2, you want to now secure your online assets. We use a tool called LastPass. And number 3, then we go to interview and hire. So let me give you a really beautiful kind of like way to think through this, okay? With Dropbox, you can create a shared folder. Like for us, we have My Lifestyle Academy master folder. And when you click into it, there's like a bunch of subfolders, and we created this naming protocol, and then everything is nice and organized. So that way the team can go in there and they can grab whatever it is that they need for a graphic or whatever. You can set access permissions, encourage regular updates, regular review and cleanup. Now, I have to be honest with you guys, this was a snooze of a project for me. I did this many, many years ago. But once I just got excited about the vision of, man, one day I'm going to have this beautiful, organized digital data. And once you create that system, right, you can, like, it's so easy to plug and play. And it took me 4 days, like legitimately, I kid you not, but I knew the vision that once I did it one time, then we could just as a team, it's going to save so much time, energy, and lost productivity. I want to encourage you to do that. Now, could you use other tools? Absolutely. Google Drive, similar to Dropbox. And you get it automatically when you create a Gmail account. And I think it's 15 megabytes of free storage that they give you. So you can compare the two, choose it. But for us personally, for our team, any new project starts with the Dropbox folder, and then everybody can then create, collaborate, and do all the things. Now, secure your online assets. LastPass is what we love to use. And I want to really encourage you to be super obsessed about your online security. You guys, there are people out there nowadays that work full time to hack into your precious social media platforms, into your websites. So what is this tool specifically? You can use LastPass. There's 1Password. There's other tools as well, but those are kind of like the top 2, right? So it allows you to store your passwords securely. I love that I have a Google Chrome extension for LastPass. And when I click on it, there's also an option to generate a super secure password. And it's amazing. So having that security is so important. But here's the next thing. LastPass allows you to create these shared vaults. So think when you bring on your VA, the last thing you want to do is actually give that person your login credentials, where they can see the login and then also the password. So to avoid that, all you're going to do is create a vault of passwords. You assign it to your virtual assistant, and then they can log in everywhere, but they never get to see the stuff. Like, how crazy is that, right? Now, interview and hire. So let me kind of show you the steps. Again, this is going to be outlined in an outsourcing PDF download. So you can go grab it. It's absolutely free. And then you can kind of follow our best steps to success. Once you get the clarity, right, you're going to do the brain dump. You're going to identify what is my number one stressor. Then it's going to be very easy for you to see, okay, I need a general virtual assistant. Like, this would be the first person that I would hire if I were you. Now, general virtual assistant, you can hire somebody out of Philippines. So this is going to be virtual assistant for you, anywhere between, $4, $5 up to, $8, $9 an hour usually is where it's at. So once we have that clarity, next step is we're going to create a job posting, and you want to be specific. I'm going to show you an example so you kind of see what that looks like. Then we're going to screen applicants. Next step, test their abilities. So now what we do is we choose top 2 to 3 candidates, and then we give them a simple task. And then we kind of look and see what is their communication style. Do they have a spirit of excellence? Do they speak good English, right? And we can test that. And then we can choose the final candidate, hire them, negotiate their hourly rate, and then you're going to manage effectively from there. I budget when I bring on a new VA, I budget about 2 months to successfully onboard that VA. And I like to get to know my people, right? That's so very key. And I love to ask, what is it that you've done in the past that you really enjoyed? What's your area of expertise? Or, are you more analytical? Do you love to do graphics? Are you more creative, right? And from their resume, obviously you can get a lot of this detail, but working together after a couple of months, you're going to have so much clarity about where they shine. And one big point here, and this is actually a golden nugget, you guys, I learned from Brendan Bouchard. He said, look, do not just hire people to plug in holes. Hire people for lead. Now we use this platform called Upwork.com. It's so user-friendly. I love that it also includes a built-in time tracking system. What does that mean? So your VA has to log into their software, and they're working on that platform where Upwork would do random screenshots, and then you can have access to the work diary. Matter of fact, we have, hired, and then we fired some people. Specifically, we had this one VA, and, we went through her work diary and noticed she literally would log in, and then she would just sit on the screen for 5 hours, do nothing, right? And then we would pay. So now here's another beautiful thing about Upwork. It provides you with payment protection as well. So you can go back and dispute that. Now, that was a problem you had, I don't know, maybe 4 years ago. It's been a long, long time. Now their software senses if the mouse is not being moved. Right now, there's more protection for you. But I love having that third-party platform that essentially brings us employers, so people who need incredible talent, we need some help and support with incredible talent, you guys, freelancers from all over the world. And another thing that I love is each freelancer has a comprehensive profile complete with reviews from past clients. Now, are you going to see people that they just got on the platform? They have 0 reviews. They have 0 feedback. We stay away from kind of being the tester. Usually we lean into people that have incredible reviews, and we look for intermediate skill set. I don't want an expert level, nor do I want a beginner. I'd love somebody that has competency, but we can mold them towards our SOPs and our protocols. And we have incredible training on the back and just in-house. So that's where we stand. But I love that you can see all that. You can see their portfolios, other relevant info to help you make the right choice. Now, is Upwork the only platform that's out there? Absolutely not. But I've been using Upwork since 2012. And I don't know, we love it. 90% of our virtual team was found on Upwork. We run our team on Upwork. I love Upwork. Now, here's an example. Maybe take a screenshot of this and then customize it as you see fit. But this is a job post example that we did a couple of years ago. And as you can see here, you guys, I would recommend the more that you project and the more that you showcase. This is why I said, hey, we're online entrepreneurs, multiple businesses. We're looking for VA to help us with . And I would even say go as tedious as legitimately taking things off your brainstorm list of those repetitive things that you're already doing and put it on the job ad. You know, one of my favorite things that here on page 2 is I love the additional requirements. So one of them is I put specifically our audience as network marketers. I would love for you to have an understanding of that business model. You know what I mean? Also must be fluent writing, reading, speaking English. A lot of VAs from Philippines, they actually grow up speaking English, which is why it's also a favorite country to go to, have access to a computer. And then I love to talk about, look, spirit of excellence, attention to detail, be kind and hardworking. And I'm telling you guys, our virtual team, I could be biased, but they are freaking amazing. Like John and I love to brag on them all the time. I can't imagine our life today without them. It's almost like we have extension of us. And it's incredible. Like it increases your bandwidth. It's really, really awesome. But again, side note, look, it took time for us to get good at outsourcing. Do you know what I mean? Like we've been doing this now for over 10 years, building out a team. So I want you to think about 5 years from now. What does your perfect day look like? And let's work towards that. You know what I mean? It's not going to happen overnight, but 5 years is going to fly by anyway. And I want to challenge you to do this. Pinky promise that you're going to do this, because for me, this was the initial exercise that put my booty into gear, right? Especially when you know, man, that's like a whole new thing to create. Like it seems so overwhelming. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time, you know? And for me, it was that particular exercise of doing a brain dump. I want you to do Monday morning to Sunday night, where you're going to brain dump literally everything you do in your business, in your life, and then really look for the areas of your that are your number one stressor. Because that number one stressor, once you remove it, it clears up that mental fog. And now you have more energy. Your next level of success is going to require that next level of energy. And how do we find more energy? Hello, we troubleshoot our number one stressor. So where does it begin? Is we do a brain dump, highlight those things that only you can do that move the needle in your business. And then we have to get really, really good at saying no to things that don't bring you happiness and don't make you any money. That's kind of like my easy formula for clarity, because you can have it all, but not all at once, and you can't do it all. There's only so much time in the day. There's so much energy that you have. And the worst thing that could happen, this is how I scare myself. Whenever I feel fear, I redirect it to productive fear. I wake up at 95 years old and I look back on my life and I realize that I lived at like 5%. Can you imagine how sucky that would be? Do you know what I mean? And then I think to myself, man, my kids, how many of us have kids, or maybe you have grandkids, and we realize that we only have so little time with them before they're out of the house. And it really hit me a couple of years ago. I only have so much time left. And I became extra obnoxious about saying no to things that didn't serve my higher legacy and serving our audience at our best, and also being mentally prepared to be the best parent and the best wife that I could be. This is so important, you guys. So, and of course, you got the mylifestyleacademy.com/resources. We really put together all of our, best things to help you scale your business. But what a tragedy would it be if you scaled your business and you have millions in the bank, but you don't know your kids, and you went through a divorce and you don't have any value relationships. This is why we call our brand My Lifestyle Academy. Let's help you optimize you in such a way where at the center, you have everything that matters to you, your family, your legacy, right? God put you on this planet and God gave you this gift that only you can deliver to the world. But so many people, you guys, they're so busy and they're wasting their precious energy on things that they could easily put on somebody else's plate. You need to unsubscribe from being busy. Are you being busy, Or are you building a legacy and making the biggest impact that God put you on this planet to create?